one of the big things that's the easiest, not the easiest, but it's very simple to do, and it's a free tool that Moz has. And there's a little bit of there's a link there to moz.com/products local listings. So this is the Moz local listing score. So Moz is probably one of the largest SEO tools out there that you can use to see how you rank organically without doing a ton of work. And so basically go to that link, um, type in your information, and it will give you kind of a total follow-up. And so it's hard to get a perfect score on there unless you get, professionals to come in and really kind of help you, which is obviously always an option. But the best thing is it just if you go through this, it shows you if there's duplicate information for your address, shows you if you're missing any information on any of the major search results. And so this kind of pulls Google, Bing, Google Maps, and a lot of the other real common search engines to bring your information together. And so boost local SEO, obviously one of the biggest things that is a challenge for a lot of businesses is just making sure that your simple information is correct, and that answers that eliminates so many of the little tiny problems that if your information's correct, that just weed out that small, for lack of a better word, just flood.
Well, when clients are looking on Google, when your customers are looking on Google, I mean, it's like every time I need a service, first thing I do, I open my phone, I go to Google, I search for that service, expecting to see local results. And the best way to tell Google and Bing, yeah, all of them, any search engine, that you're local is to put your information, get it across all of the places, and make sure that you are having a consistent address, phone number, and business name, which tells all the search engines that you are local. So we'll get into that a little bit more on the next
Yeah.
slide, I think. But
Yeah. So, I mean, having your information correct across all of these different platforms creates trust within the industry. It's trust for your suppliers. It's trust for your buyers. If you don't have your information just simply up to date, then it's hard to know if you are, actually a real business or not. So, um, thanks, Daniel Pentecost, for sharing this to the
yeah,
for us.
we're
So,
figuring it out.
yeah,
It's going to
yeah,
take a minute. Yeah.
yeah. We're not quite professionals like Darren is, so we're getting there. So yeah, and then obviously reduces confusion, missed opportunities, prevents lost business just due to not having information on there. Google My Business is another one it's you know basically just part of that Moz search results, but Google My Business is very simple to get on and just make sure that your information is cleaned up. And you want to talk a little more about?
Yeah, so like I think if the first thing that you do, if you haven't activated your Google My Business profile and gotten in there, Google is the lion's share of search. I haven't checked it recently, but maybe 80% or 90% of all search volume goes through Google. It's huge. Even if it's 20%, it's still huge. And so, activating on Google My Business really allows you to control your profile on Google, what customers will see, your business hours, your location, and then you really want to fill your Google My Business profile with content. So this is photos and videos of work you've done. If you're a sign shop or print shop, you're kind of building a portfolio of work. Get those images that you have, all those just iPhone photos are fine. Get all those images up on Google My Business so that you have a really full, complete listing when a local customer is looking for you, for the first time. I can't tell you how many times when I'm searching, I don't often search for a sign shop because we usually just run our own stuff here. Or when I'm looking for a plumber or a painter or something like that,
Yeah.
having that full Google My Business um, result and all that information actively on there, it just brings me confidence in the business that they're taking care of things. Also, as you update your hours and update information, Google kind of tells your customers how often you're updating that. So when I'm about to go to a restaurant, we just went to a restaurant yesterday,
Yeah.
and I couldn't get them on the phone. Right, we were going to lunch. We had seven of us going to lunch. Get them on the phone, but when I pulled up the Google result, it said that they had updated their hours a week ago. And so you know what? I'm like, I'm going to bet on it, and
Changed it.
and we trusted it, and we went to that restaurant. And so these little things, and you're going to hear a lot of us talking about this kind of stuff a lot through FireHour is this isn't stuff that should be coming out of left field. Most of you guys know this stuff, but what we see time and time again is we're not putting the time and the consistency into just making sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed and you're kind of getting your information consistently out there across all these different places so that when your clients are looking for you and where they're looking for you, they're able to find you quickly and easily. Can't stress that enough. That's, they're pulling out their phone. You got 2 or 3 seconds to make that impression. Having that good information on there really helps.
Good reviews also really help a lot as well. I mean, think about when if you're driving through a new town, if you're traveling or something, and you go up to a restaurant and you see that it has 2 reviews. Well, that's mom and dad, that are
Yep. Yep.
reviewing your cooking and stuff. But if you've got 50 reviews or 30 reviews or something, that's a little bit harder to fake. And so lots of reviews, that's true raw data that like, gives you that credibility,
Yeah.
builds trust
So how do
with
you
it.
get more reviews?
So you can ask your clients for it. I always encourage, just send out after you have a like a post order or like do a post order survey, which that's something that we are working on here at FireSprint is. So if you are placing orders with us, you'll probably start to see that here soon. Um, but post order surveys are good. That just kind of gives you that credibility. And we want to know, like I mean, obviously you want as many good reviews as you can, but like you want to know if somebody doesn't like something. And then if you do have a bad review, it's extremely important to respond to it,
It's
talk
a
about it.
fantastic opportunity
Yeah.
to improve
And
your business.
yeah,
Yep.
and bad reviews aren't, it's like that's a chance to grow your business, build your business, be stronger, and then when you talk about it, I know, if somebody talks about us on social media, about an order that went wrong or something, one of the most powerful things we can do is respond to it, talk about it, talk about the things that we did to fix it. We obviously want to solve those problems within our shop, within our staff if there is an issue with something. And so talking about it is it's candid, it's transparent, it builds trust and it
Yeah.
builds.
But actually asking, giving that QR code out or sending that link, asking for the review. So you have a client that says, I thank you so much for the work. Say, hey, would you mind giving me a review? It kind of feels like shameless self-promotion, but I mean, we're in business. That's what we're doing, and
Yeah.
chances are you're working B2B too. So your customers understand how important and powerful reviews are. So, the cool thing about being in our industry is you're working with a lot of other business owners, and so you can kind of level with them and say, look, you understand how important it is to get these reviews. Would you mind giving me a review? I'm hoping we did a really good job. And if not, if you don't feel like you can leave me a positive review, would you mind telling me why and what I can do to fix it or improve it in the future for either you or other customers? So
Yeah.
these kinds of things are crazy important. So
So absolutely.
yeah,
So Bob Hutchinson, he posted in the chat. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but he just started putting a QR on his Google review to link a QR code to his Google review link on every box and bag. That's
that
fantastic.
is fantastic.
It's awesome. And then also it's a way to promote your products as well, because odds are if you're watching this, you're within the sign industry. And if you're in the sign industry, stickers are a heck of a product. We've got some stickers right here. Um, and so, it's a good way to promote your clients. If you're selling to a restaurant or, a hotel or something, drop a sticker on every, care package or bag that's going out and, post that. And so it's great for everybody. Um, Email newsletters are a fantastic way to get your information out. They're cheap, they're easy. I know like Mailchimp has kind of a free service. If you have 50 or 100 contacts in your network, just use your Google account. Just use your Gmail, or whatever email
Outlook.
platform you're using.
Yep.
Yeah, Outlook to send out some information. I know soon we'll have some Google templates or Gmail templates that are going to be going up on our site for clients to use. Um, but talking to
Wait,
your
what?
what?
No, that'll be cool. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that. We'll talk about that more, but we've got some tools that we're building for you guys to just help you take maybe you have got a list of 50 or 100 really active customers or people that you're trying to target. What is this? Continue.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you still see that? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Um, Customers that you're trying to target, we want to give you some tools. Just make it really, really easy. Just kind of copy and paste in um, an email blast and send it right from your Gmail account. So, sorry, I interrupted you. Where were we?
Email newsletters,
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about those. I know this year we have probably been the most consistent out of any year in business. It's taken us 17 years to get to this point. But we've really tried hard to make sure that we consistently send out an email talking about different products and stuff. And, our goal is to get that as value added as possible. I know if you kind of talk about the same thing or you're constantly plugging products, like that can get old and boring and stuff. And so obviously for us, we're in a little bit different market than you are because we're promoting to sign shops and people within our industry. But um, it's one of the big reasons why we have FireHour here is because we want to talk about, our business and stuff, and that's part of our brand is that, openness and candidness of our company. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's all kind of part of it. But and then obviously the number one thing, if you're not going to send newsletters out, just make sure that your signature has all your correct information.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Your signature block is a really I see that as constantly as an underutilized resource. I see people do a great job with it too, but they'll be sending out messages or I'll get an email from a sign shop, asking me a question. By the way, side note, if you have a question or something that you want to ask, but you don't want to ask it like live with your name attached to it, something like that. Maybe it's like you're ashamed of an issue in your business and you're trying to figure out how to solve it. Feel free to email more of an anonymous thing to marketing@firesprint.com. And then I think James can check that on here. And we'll check before the end and see if there's anything marketing@firesprint.com. You can send that to us. James and I get this. And we'll be happy to answer questions. It's not a good place to email like order requests or anything like that. They'll get lost. But business related questions, if we can help you, and especially if you just don't feel comfortable posting a question, um, chances are somebody else has that same question. So we'd love to answer it the best of our ability. Um, but back to signature lines, crazy important to, be promoting your most recent promotion. If you've got a promotion you're running, or just letting people know that, hey, did you know, maybe you know us for t-shirts. Did you know we also can do signage? Did you know we can also do print, labels, anything like that, that you want to offer. And so those kinds of things are critical. But I would say, I think the most important thing is with this kind of stuff and I'd say you taught me this because I kept pushing to get stuff perfect, James, and it was like,
mhm.
I don't want to send it out unless it adds tons of value. And you pushed me to say, you know what, let's get it out because it's still top of mind awareness. It still adds value to just tell people about a product that we
Yeah,
offer. And so it might be as simple as, you take the image right off of firesprint.com or go to, one of your other vendors or whatever, take a photo with your iPhone, take the image and send it out and say, hey guys, we do have this if you're interested in it. And that top of mind awareness is useful. Now you want to really try and add value so that you're not flooding people's inboxes with a bunch of spam. But letting them know about like timely promotions, you got the start of school season, or you have, just if snow's about to arrive, just all kinds of things. Kind of a timely promotion, very simple, is a really great place to start and doesn't require a lot of effort on your behalf. Just start with Gmail, right?
yeah. So one of the things Gene was telling a story yesterday at lunch, and I thought it was actually really interesting. Um, but we run Durst printers, and Durst is a huge company. But they're not actually like that big in relation. They probably have, I don't know, several hundred employees or something. And so like in their booth is their CEO and stuff like that. And when we bought our first printer, they wanted to do a story on us. And that story, they wanted to like send in a camera crew, a
It's a
makeup
half
guy.
million dollar printer we bought back in 2018. So
Yeah,
it's a big deal even to them.
yeah.
So yeah.
And so they wanted to send in all this stuff to get this like really cool, promotional video done. And so they sent Gene a list of questions, and I didn't realize kind of how like it stemmed and stuff until yesterday. And this was a few years ago, but anyways, I thought it was really cool. They sent him a list of questions to prepare, and it was like going to be this whole production that came in. It was going to be really expensive. There was going to be a lot of different parts to it. They're going to send in a crew. I'm sure it's going to cost him a fortune to do this. And Gene was like trying to figure out how he was going to answer the questions, and so in his pickup truck, in like the middle of winter, I think it was like December or something. He had his jacket on, just wearing a polo, every single day, black
Yeah,
polo
yeah.
and jeans. But he has, jacket on in his pickup truck, takes his iPhone out and he's talking it, in vertical mode. And, um, he answered all the questions. And it was like, he sent that to, their marketing guy, and their marketing guy looked at it and says, well, like this candid video is like the most like real thing that we could get. Forget the crew. Let's just use this. And so,
So they didn't send out the camera crew. They didn't send out the makeup person. They didn't like take all this stuff. They were going to build like this professional video, and they were like, "No, we don't need it." And it wasn't a cost savings thing. It was because so often when people are buying these huge printers, they want this whole professional layout. And I just shot this video in my truck driving in one day, and they thought it was cool. They played it in their booth. Um, at
Right.
the show.
And it just goes to show that you don't need this huge production to
Right,
make something happen like that.
right.
If you
Be
are
real.
just selling promo, grab that Yeti tumbler with a logo on it. Just talk about it with your iPhone, and post that to your Facebook page. And I guarantee people are going to see that, and they're going to recognize it. A lot of people don't understand how to incorporate promo or how to incorporate print into their business and the importance of it and stuff. And so you need to kind of encourage your clients to do that, but you do that by just talking about it and stuff. You're the best salesperson out there for this product. And so, anyways, thank you guys for your questions so far, and your feedback. Laura, thanks for joining in from Texas, and James Duncan. Still very new to the industry. I do want to thank Gene for helping me get my guidance, getting set up with you. We are always, we love watching businesses grow and get into the industry and stuff. This is a very entrepreneurial industry, and this next slide actually kind of talks about how we got into the industry. But it's well, yeah, we're constantly trying to provide tools and stuff, and working.
I like Bob's comment there. He says, I was using generic support email address and he switched it to his name. So he's switched it to make it more personal and he feels like he's getting more email responses to that. And I think that's probably um, absolutely true, especially at kind of a small business level, where it's just you and a few people, those kinds of things. To really feel like you're in touch with an owner, you have to play on that. And we did that too. Initially, you're really playing on the fact that, uh, you are working with an owner or you're working very close to an owner, you're working with a small company, they're very agile and flexible and they're going to meet your needs in that way. And I think when you're small, lean into that. And then as you grow, you do kind of try and separate out so that, our goal is to give consistent service regardless of who you talk to,
Yeah.
right? You don't necessarily have to talk to James or I
Yep.
to get good service or bad, well, frankly, we're terrible. But that is, that's the goal as you grow. But when you're starting out or when you're small, leaning into that, I think is really important
Yeah.
and a great move, Bob. Thanks for sharing that comment.
Yep. Handwritten notes, Laura, that's also
Hmm.
a great thing too. That does go a long ways. I know anytime we send a thank you letter, I mean, to your like customers and employees and stuff, if you give a thank you letter to
Oh
somebody,
gosh,
yeah,
it's huge.
goes a long way. So,
So talk
um,
about signs.
so I feel like you should talk about this. This is your
So I
your thing.
started Fire Sprint. My parents, some of you guys know this already. I started Fire Sprint in my parents' basement in 2017 or 2007. James and Mark, the other two partners, joined in 2008. But one of the things I did, like that, just right off the bat, and I was actually subbing this work out. The company's no longer in existence, but I was buying yard signs, screen printed yard signs that said 100 signs at the time. It was 100 signs for $159, and uh, back in 2017. But I'll tell you, you can still buy them from us. No, I'm not going to pitch that right now. But um, put these out everywhere. We literally put out thousands of them. And that consistency of putting these signs out just kept our phone ringing initially. And so that was probably the easiest way to know that we were on top of something. So I don't see this used as much anymore. And I know a lot of municipalities, a lot of cities and things like that have outlawed, the use of yard signs unless it's a free speech thing like a political sign. But I still think there are some opportunities for this, putting signs out, using your own products basically to promote. And, maybe it's not signs, maybe it's pens, maybe it's handing out pens that are very clear that this is a promotional pen that is for sale and it's this much. I really like putting pricing on things. I think it gives you a higher response to it, right? So, as you get bigger and you brand, you want to start moving away from price and move more towards, here's the value that we add, and then, not try and compete on price. But when you're starting out, I mean, and you are competing on price oftentimes, when somebody has no idea who you are, the first question they ask is, how much is it? So, my suggestion, the way we started was we put the price right out there in front, and it wasn't the lowest price, but it was an aggressive price, and that helped. We did it with vehicle magnets too, which are on the next slide. But I drove around with vehicle magnets on my Jeep that said, pair of magnets for $59, I think, for the longest time, and I got a call, 2 or 3 calls a week off of that. And sure, the magnets, that they themselves, or the signs, the selling 100 signs, didn't actually, pay all of the bills, but it really got us those connections with people, with business owners and people who needed these products. And so to continue to sell to them. So yard signs are still one of the most cost-effective ways to promote, and that's why we, that I think that's why we do so many yard signs today because we
Yeah,
believe in the product, right? I mean, you put yard signs out, they work.
yeah, they work. And just to touch on, you were talking about price for a second ago. I do think you have a commodity product like yard signs, right? Where you can go, forgive us, if you are just now joining, we were at Printing United a couple weeks ago, and inevitably we came back with the Expo Plague. It happens every single year where we get sick, like right after the trade show. You get all these people in one area, and it always just gets us. But anyway, so apologize for our raspy voice and the occasional cough every once in a while. We're trying to avoid that. But next week, I promise we'll be much healthier on this. Or in a couple weeks when we do this again. Um, but if you have a commodity product like business cards, like yard signs, I think those inevitably are always going to be a battle for price. It's all the other products, right? It's the promotional items that you're adding to the value, you're adding to the table. It's if you've got like a full store reset that you're working on, you're working with a convenience store chain, something like that. Those are where,
Design,
yeah,
good design, install, brand consistency, helping your customers with brand consistency,
yeah,
colors, things
all
like
the
that.
consultation.
All
So
that stuff should be higher margin, and that's what you do after you kind of get them in the door,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's not as price sensitive like yard signs or
right,
business
right.
cards or,
Because you really
yeah,
are absolutely solving a problem at that
yeah,
point. So it's how can you solve my problem? That's
yeah,
what you're looking for. Clients who
exactly.
are asking you to solve a problem for them, and you say, "Well, I'll solve it for you, and here's my price." And
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And so,
Daniel, I see your comment here. No, please keep sending us the goofs that you find. Daniel has found some errors with a sample kit and some other things that he's noticed. And frankly, I do really appreciate the feedback, even if it's not all positive. Um, in fact, I appreciate the negative feedback more because like I can go do something about it. Positive feedback's nice to receive and it's good to share with the team. But the negative feedback, when we mess something up, we want to know.
so,
Um,
so every Tuesday and Thursday, we
yeah.
have an all hands meeting for the managers. And so we get like, I don't know, 10, 12 people in our conference room here, which is all behind us or
Yep.
in front of us or whatever. And we actually go over all the feedback that we've received up to that point. And so, Daniel, when you find something wrong with our sample kit, obviously we were trying to fix that
Or
right
our
away.
product. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
but there's 10 to 12 people that hear about that issue, and we talk about what we're going to do to fix it, and we trying to champion in that meeting and stuff. And that goes for just about every piece of feedback that we get, positive or negative.
Yep.
When you guys have something that's wrong, we talk about it. We talk, the whole company hears about it. We talk to the the managers go back and they talk to the press operators about it. I mean, we really try to make sure that ripples through, the entire company because
It's critically important.
it
Yeah.
matters, and that's how we get better. We don't get better unless you give us some sort of feedback, as to what's going on. So
Yeah. Okay. So I talked about the vehicle magnets and things like that already, so we won't spend too much time on this slide, but just, keep in mind that these products are really great for self-promotion. So, and if you don't sell signs, that's fine. You're watching this, but you're more into commercial print or labels or promotional products. It matters not. Use your own products to promote. It's probably the easiest way to sell those kinds of things. You think about vehicle magnets on a vehicle, and it's got a. I think they were so effective. Pair of magnets for $59. Driving around on my Jeep, I think they're so effective because if a let's say you're a contractor or let's say you're a mowing, you know, professional, and you're driving, you're like thinking, I should get some magnets. And then you see that moment where it's like the car next to you's got magnets on it that say they do magnets, right? I mean, that's as good of a scenario as you can be in. Um, and so like using your own stuff to promote somebody who's kind of on the edge of buying something like that, if they're on the edge of purchasing pens, if they're on the edge of purchasing magnets, um, they're particularly sensitive and keen to seeing those things. So um, it's really good use of those resources.
yeah,
So
yeah.
okay.
So one of the things they have here in Omaha, and they probably have something in your area as well, but like we have the Best of Omaha Award, and so it's a program that you can, you know, sign up for basically, and then get your clients to, vote for you. And this is a chance to send out an email newsletter about it. This is a chance to talk to them. This is a chance for brand recognition. And then, if you get enough rewards, you obviously become the best of your area for that. And so, like in Omaha, we've got the Best of Omaha magazine. Um, and so to be able to say that you're the 2024, 2023, 2022 winner, for that is incredibly powerful, builds that recognition, builds that credibility. So
Lots
thing,
of backlinks to your website, things like that
yeah,
too. So
yep,
it really helps with your Google rankings and whatnot to
yeah.
be winning those types of awards.
Getting your local news to talk about you and then linking back to your site is very powerful. Google loves that kind of stuff. That's what they're looking
Yeah.
for. Google they want to display the best possible result to the person
So
searching.
I'm going to give you a little hint here though. Like for example, the Inc. 5000 awards, right? We've won the Inc. 5000 award twice. Well, to win the Inc. 5000 award, you have to pay, I don't remember what it was. It was several $100s to be even considered. And then you submit to it. And I'll tell you, they probably don't get many more than 5,000 applications. And so if you submit to the Inc. 5000 and you've doubled or tripled in size in the last year or two, chances are you're going to be named one of the 5,000 fastest growing companies in the United States. And I don't want to downplay that at all, but a lot of the awards that are offered out there and a lot of this kind of buzz that's created, you pay for, right? And so it might feel like cheating, it might seem like cheating, but oftentimes, these companies that set this stuff out, they have an incentive for you to be part of their listing.
Yeah,
And so it's not that when we say win local awards, we're not talking, obviously you want to try and be the best in your industry, in your location where you are, but at the end of the day, like, go ask for it, right? Go say, what are the awards that I'm seeing? Do they have a category in print? Do they have a category in signage? Do they have, can I win a neighborhood award? Those kinds of things. And go ask for those things. Ask, can I win this? What's it going to take for me to win it? Or what's it going to take for me to be listed as a semifinalist or something? And you might find that it's a little easier than you think. I know Best of Omaha really does take like a voting system, so it's pretty legit in terms of getting enough votes to win. But you might be surprised at how many people in your industry or your area um, actually vote. Maybe you only need 10 or 12 votes to
yeah.
be the front runner, right? And so that's just a couple of your best clients and some friends and things like that, and you go and win that award. And so I know it, like, I hate to say it this way, it might seem a little bit sneaky, but going and getting yourself on these lists is uh, pretty important. And it's really, I think the takeaway is it's probably a lot easier than you think it is um, to get added to these lists. So,
And eventually, once you kind of start talking to them and you
yeah,
start promoting that, then other magazines in the area, other news radio stations and stuff,
mhm,
they want people to talk about, right?
yeah,
They need
they do.
stories, and so it's a two-way street where you're getting recognition and they're getting the content that they need to
Yep,
drive
yep,
that stuff. And so
yeah,
I
for
know we
sure.
we see that a lot within the industry, magazines and stuff. Dean's very open to talking about different topics and stuff, and so we tend to show up in a decent number of magazines and stuff
Oh yeah, yeah.
just because we are open to answering the
the,
questions.
the print industry magazines, it's like the editors ask me every once in a while a few questions, and I always make it a point to answer. And so what do? Every time there's an article that remotely lists trade only printers or anything like that, they always ask me for my opinion. So most of the articles in some of the big publications that talk about trade only printing, outsourcing, things like that, I'm quoted in there, and it's because they're seeking or really looking, digging up for this content that they need. And so if you just kind of hand it to them on a silver platter, it's pretty likely they're going to use it. So just get out there and do it. It's a lot easier than you think it is.
Yeah. And if you don't want to type a response back, then pull
Simple.
your iPhone video out or your iPhone out and shoot a video of
Or
yourself
your
talking.
Android phone. We
Yeah,
got to give some love to the Android
yeah,
guys out there.
yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yep.
But yeah, just pull that out and give that to them, and make sure you take a shower that day and do your hair and your beard's trimmed, and you'll be good. So.
We got
We got a few questions here. Martin down. Bob Hutchins, my entire business is word of mouth. I believe it. Yeah, absolutely. It's once you build that credibility and stuff, pricing kind of goes out the door. It's you're the guy that solves the problem, and business is about solving problems, right? It's
Yep.
oh,
Yep, for sure. It's successful businesses, right, are not going to beat you up over price because they're out there selling what they're selling. They're doing what they're doing. They're doing a good job, right? You find a restaurant that has no problem bringing people in the door because the food is great and they've got good service, they're not going to beat you up over pricing as much because what they want is a problem to be solved, right? They're changing their hours. They want that problem to be solved.
Yeah.
And so if you come and solve it and do what you say you're going to do, it becomes a lot less about price and a lot more about, what problems can you solve for me? So,
But it's
yeah.
about building that credibility, and you may need that,
Hmm.
you know, ding, doorbuster deal to get that managed stuff. But
Yeah.
once you do, then you're building that credibility and you're focusing on solving those problems.
Martin asked about magnets not sticking to vehicles. Yes, this is a problem. I don't know that I have much more to say about that, other than there are still millions of cars on the road that magnets do stick to. The majority, vast majority of the vehicles in our parking lot, magnets stick to. I have a Ford truck, so no, magnets don't stick to it anymore. But you can go to removable vinyl or things like that. But it's pretty challenging to replace a magnet. A magnet's a solid thing, and if they just don't have steel doors, they don't have steel doors. But they are still quite popular. I still see them all over the place.
Yeah. Tell your
So.
clients to buy a Chevy. No, I'm just kidding. But I've had both. James Duncan, I know I set up a trade agreement with my local radio station for banners, yard signs for airtime.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. So like a trade type
Yep.
deal. That's awesome.
We
Yeah.
used to trade all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
No.
it's what you're selling is quite valuable to other businesses. So it's usually pretty easy to find somebody who is willing to trade, especially things like airtime for banners and print and things like that. Because every business needs what we're selling. If you're on this live stream here, you're selling stuff that just everybody needs. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Bob Hutchinson, hit up barbershops. I see dozens of people every day. They do. That's a great
Yep.
idea. Yeah.
Okay. Um,
So join local networks. So build relationships with potential clients, partners, and referral sources. These are great. I'll tell you as I get it's challenging for us since we don't sell direct. So we're not quite as into like local networks and stuff. We are more,
well, we're not doing any networking, but this is we
but
did when we were retail. We did
yeah,
lots of it. We
and
went
it's
to the tips meetings, the coffee and contacts type things, in the morning and
and the
yeah.
but like for even for us, like the promotional products professionals network, the Print Fam
Oh
network.
yeah, yeah.
I mean that stuff is great
It's
for.
it has moved to Facebook, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
for people that are selling direct, joining local networks and stuff, getting out there, who you know, and kind of building those relationships. You never know who you're going to meet, at the gym or at the coffee shop or wherever, that's going to help you in your business one way or another, whether they're a client or a vendor or somebody that you can, a resource that you can tap into for, um, you know, helping you grow, helping you, be a stronger business. So
Yep.
network.
This goes back to kind of on the Google side, but
Yeah.
asking for referrals is crazy important. We can't stress this enough. Like, ask your customers for reviews, ask them for referrals, ask them to help you. And again, it's like one of the reasons why I love this business. It's all B2B, right? So like no, well, it's not. Many of you are working with weddings and things like that, but there is so much B2B where it's just really clear how important it is, and other business owners understand that. And so I think it's pretty easy to do in our business. Fortunately, you provide some value to a small shop or a restaurant or a barber shop or whatever, and just ask, hey, will you tell people about me? I think is pretty easy to do.
Yeah. Felicia just commented, that's my biggest way to market. Networking is my jam. That is 100% true statement for Felicia. She is probably knows more people in the Omaha area. Well, she's probably up there with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law has been a teacher for 30 years, and yeah, they know everybody, and so that's an awesome way to be out there. That's when your name is known as the person for this, that's it.
I like 100% agree with what Darren just said there. I find it better to ask for introductions instead of referrals. So that's, there's a subtle difference there. So a
Yeah,
referral is kind of broad. Ask for a referral, hey, do you have, but I think asking for an introduction is awesome because Um, it really is more actionable, I think. So I think putting it that way makes a lot of sense. Hey, can you introduce me to so and so? Yeah, let me text them and I'll text you each other's contact information or whatever. It's asking for, do you have any referrals? Yeah, I like that. I think I'm going to change everything to say it that way. Thanks, Darren.
that's great.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
credibility and stuff is just, I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Follow up with past customers, the people that you've worked with before in the past, even if it's negative experience, you know, going back to them and saying, hey, I know we had a bad experience in the past or something like that. Not to talk about the negative, but I mean, those are your customers your customers and clients that you have messed up with is the best opportunity for you to regain that credibility and grow from it, right? You're I hate to say it like this, but you don't learn a lot from the people that are just like, oh yeah, you guys are great. I love working with you. It's like it's fantastic to hear that, and I love hearing that. But if you tell us what we did wrong, even if it's something minor, the smallest thing
Yeah,
is,
I think people watching this uh, now or in the future are going to think, oh, I should just send James and Gene every problem, which actually we do want that,
yeah,
but
we can deal with it. We can handle it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, we want to know.
yeah. So it's good for us to see that kind of stuff. And so, but yeah, following up with your past clients, those are people that have worked with you in the past. They've already paid you. They're already in the system. Um, tell you the amount of times that I hear, um, I've been working with these guys forever, and I just trust them and stuff, and so I'm not going to switch. The amount of times that we hear that at trade shows and stuff, like if you're already in their system, you're already built that reputation with them. Like it's hard for somebody to want to switch. Now, gonna keep them in the door, obviously, but
Hmm.
that's a tough topic. But you can, you know, being in their system is more powerful than you'd ever know. So,
Yeah, yeah. So a couple more items on the, yeah, and Bob, you saying that most of my past customers are past because they were has to deal with. Yes, I understand that.
yeah.
Those wouldn't be the ones that you want to follow up with. But I think my guess is Bob does a really good job of networking and connecting, staying top of mind with your customers. But that's one way you can do this. Back to the email um, blast. Just trying to stay top of mind with existing customers. I think is really what we're trying to say here. And maybe people have fallen off, but just reminding them that you're still there. Um, is and yeah, there's a number of ways to do that. But okay.
So our takeaways for this. So thank you guys for your comments and stuff. Please um, ask any questions that you feel like you'd want an answer to. We'd love to. Don't be afraid to ask anything. So we're pretty open and we're pretty good about you know telling you just about anything we can to help whatever can help you guys grow and stuff. And then obviously we grow from hearing that kind of stuff and understanding what our clients are looking for too. So but takeaways from this slide deck. Um, Maximize customer touch points. Utilize both physical and digital tools to keep your brand top of mind and create ongoing engagement with clients. Um, just make sure that you are staying in touch anywhere and everywhere. Networking, e-blast, stuff like that. I mean, just be there. Build that trust and credibility, referrals, um, reviews, all that kind of stuff. Everything that you do out there helps build that credibility. And then leverage your client relationships. What Darren said. That's I feel like that was like written for Darren by Darren.
Mhm.
Um, but just anything you can do to get somebody to give you that referral, it just builds that credibility, shows that they've been successful. When we have a client that tells another sign shop about us, it's like, yeah, I've worked with these guys, I've made a ton of money on them. I mean, like our client relationships are win-win. That's the goal, right? We want them to sell more. If they're selling more, they're making more money, and then obviously, we're printing more, and that's the goal for us too. So, um, and then expand your local presence. Um, get in those referral based programs and stuff. Make sure that you're the best of the best in your area. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we can go into a lot of, this is a very high level, and it kind of pulls at me that some of these things we've talked about so loosely and quickly and just, do this kind of thing. And we're not getting into the detail on how we do that. But some a lot of these things we'd like to go into more detail in future episodes of Fire Hour, because I think we can really, um, elaborate on some of these things and make them, give you a bunch of actionable steps, one after another. These are the things that you should do if you haven't thought of doing this or don't understand how to do that. But I'd be curious to know uh, which of these things you'd like to see us get into more detail in terms of the marketing. Um, the cool thing about being an $8 million company, we have the resources. We can do things that maybe a lot of you guys couldn't do, and then we can kind of document that process. So we can reach out to experts. We can, bring other people in that can help us with those kinds of things, and might be interesting. What are we talking about? on the next Fire Hour?
The next fire hour is going to be, oh, okay.
Pricing.
Pricing. Yeah,
Pricing.
pricing.
So the two big questions I see that I feel like we can answer that aren't like, hey, my Roland is giving me an error code 4107. Like we see stuff like that all the time. But generally, the two biggest things we see is how do I get more customers, and when I have those customers, how do I price to them? And so we'll spend a lot of time talking about those two things because I feel like that plays into our expertise a little bit more. Not I don't even want to call ourselves, we're not expert. We have no idea what we're doing, but we've been able to build an $8 million print company. And so we know how to get this far, I would say. Going any further, I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go along. But um, pricing and marketing we'll be talking about a lot here. Um, so yeah, we'll go
Yeah.
through the price calculator if you haven't seen that yet. Um,
Yeah.
get into it a little more.
Yeah. Underneath firesprint.com/tools, if you go to the resources page, you can get the pricing calculator that Gene built. And any feedback you guys have on that, we'd love to hear that too. And so, we do have a few more questions, Bob, or a few more comments. Bob Hutchinson says, "Don't blow off loyal customers trying to get new clients." That is huge. Um, that's always, I'll tell you, uh, it's always been a major topic of our marketing the last couple years, especially, is we don't necessarily need to gain any new clients. Obviously, there's churn and there's people that are coming and going and stuff, and um, but we don't need to get any new clients to grow FireSprint to triple
I'm
or double.
I'm
That,
I'm
that
100% convinced that if we added zero new clients next year, we can still double if we did it right.
I think it's really it's good content. How do we encourage you to sell more to your
Mhm.
customers? Every client that you deal with, whether it's a school, a hospital, there's always something more that they can be incorporating into their business or their organization to help grow. Um, and so I think a lot of it is just all of our growth could be from our current clients that are already buying from us. How do we get them to,
Yeah.
be more be more network? Um,
Personal relationships. Yeah.
Laura, we do have, well, there's not plans in stone for white label websites, but it's a dream that we do have, that we keep kind
We
of
can
saying is
go
to do.
into more detail in one of the Fire Hours as to why we haven't done that yet. And so
Yeah,
it's not that we're intentionally holding back. It's that we believe that there are some real challenges that need to be solved. And we want to do it right. Like it's obviously we could just take a bunch of our products and slap them up and let you put your logo across the top. I suppose we could do that, but then it's really difficult for you to add value in the sea of websites that do the same thing. And so, how do we help you build a site, a white label site that actually can stand apart from the crowd, that actually can drive business to you? And that's been a real challenge that we have some ideas on how to do that, but that's been a real challenge for us. And that's why and maybe I'm overcomplicating it. Maybe we're trying to do too much, but I feel like that's what's held us back a lot. Um, and then, it's a real challenge to, which Laura, I know you know this, but it's a real challenge to it's like a mindset change to go to e-commerce from, in person and quoting every job and things like that
yeah,
to going to an e-commerce scenario where, 1 in 10, 1 in 20, 1 in 30 jobs is going to lose money, right? And
yeah,
that's like when you go to firesprint.com, we have all these scenarios in which you can order something and we'll lose money producing it for you. But the overall picture of how simple e-commerce is, we've been able to make it, it works, right? It works overall. But that's one of the biggest challenges I see um, with folks going to the e-commerce world. And so to kind of help them through that, things like that, I feel responsible to do if we're going to start offering white label site. Anyway, you can see why my brain is like, this is really complicated, and I feel like we need to simplify it and make it a real solid solution rather than just here you go, here's some products you can throw up. Good luck, right?
yeah, yeah. Dave Harrington, thanks for joining us. Trust seems to be the major issue with business, especially when I started in 2000. Personal relationships are extremely important to be successful.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to that, and you've heard me say this over and over again. And I'll be honest, I got it from Alex from Ozzy. If any of you guys watch him. He looks like a real meathead when you see him at first, but you start listening to him for a minute. It's like, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. But um, of course, look at me comment on Alex Hormozzi's physique. Look him up and then look at me, and yeah, it's inappropriate for me to comment on his physique. Um, but uh, anyway, he talks about it's about solving problems, right? And so that trust that you build is that process of you bring me a problem, I'm going to solve it for you for an amount of money that is less than the problem is costing you, right? I mean, it's like it's kind of simple math, and that's like how you're building trust is, that's it. Solve the problem that they've presented to you, and they'll have no problem paying for it. And so, um, the more successful the business is, the richer a business is, the more they're willing to pay to have their problem solved. And so that's I think that's the core of trust in business. And so I completely agree with you. It's I'm going to take care of this if you bring it to me, and then you can trust me with that. I'm going to send you a bill, but I'm going to take care of it, right? And that's where it's at.
Five Coat Graphics. Expert means you have learned 999 ways to do it wrong.
Yes, absolutely. Um, Yeah, if I had just a nickel for all of our failures, I don't think I'd need to be working anymore here at Firesprint. We've just done a ton of things that didn't work, but that's the only way to do it, really. The only way I know how. And then yeah, what did I see?
Uh,
Oh,
Daniel
Daniel,
Pentecost.
yeah, say it out loud again. E-commerce orders are not all that profitable, are not all profitable. That's absolutely that's the key is you're working with laws of averages and things like that. I remember when we first got our website set up. I'll tell you a quick story here. When we first got our website set up, we were just selling yard signs, and grommets was an option that we offered. Add grommets, right? Well, when you grommet a yard sign, you can fit less in a box, and that box tends to weigh more, right? So it was like, how do we calculate shipping for grommets, grommeted yard signs? So it's this whole thing. And we went to it was actually a custom developed website at that point. We went to our developer and we said, we've got to solve this problem. And, we're going through it and we're spending hours and hours and hours. And I don't remember who, maybe it was Mark, look back on it. It's like, um, we've spent more money trying to make selling grommets on yard signs profitable by charging more for shipping than we've sold grommets, right? Like,
Mhm.
period. Like it was, we had all of this customization going into it and everything. And we turn around and it's like, why? Just let's charge 2 cents more per grommet that we install and call it good. And that's what we ended up doing. We simplified that pricing. And so now we don't even, maybe if you order signs with grommets, it ships in 2 boxes, and we were only kind of thinking it was going to be in 1 box. It's fine. It works out.
Yeah.
Um, Now, if every order we sold had grommets, we would recalculate and our pricing would reflect that. But you have to have y- that's the key with e-commerce is
Yeah.
really in our world I think is just making sure your averages work out, and then where you win is not having to quote every single job, your clients being able to place orders with you at the fairy tale 2 in the morning kind of thing,
Yeah.
um, and you really win in those ways. So
Yeah. It's keeping it simple enough for our clients to understand how to sell it, right? If you have a whole bunch of caveats on how to sell something, I mean, it's really hard for you as a distributor to go out and say, yeah, order stickers from me. It's going to be X price, right?
mm,
Well, if you come back and you're like, shipping is way higher than I thought, or setup costs are way higher than I thought, or something like that. Well, it doesn't do you any good.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we have another Alex Ramosi fan,
yep,
Justin, Barry
right.
Anders. Welcome, Barry. Um,
Barry runs a heck of a shop.
yeah, yeah, we shouldn't be talking. He
Yeah,
should
really, he should be on here.
he,
Forget anything we have to say.
he should be the one talking.
Yeah.
Dave with sticker.com. Nice, thanks, man. Um, Daniel Pentecost. Actually, in my tech world, the richer the business, the less open they are to pay to fix the problem. Yeah,
I know it probably seems that way. Fact of the matter is Daniel Pentecost is probably one of the quickest witted, smartest people I know.
yeah,
So I'm sure there's a deeper, like, kind of overall story, but I'm also sure that he understands what we're saying when it's you've got um, rich people do seem cheap, or from time to time, I think, but it's because they've been good with their money, right? And so I think that's probably maybe what he's experiencing or what he's talking about. They're very efficient. with their money. They use it as a tool, and um, for sure. But I think when somebody comes to you with a big problem to solve and you say you're going to solve it, um, I think if they're good at what they do, they'll be willing to pay you a fair price to solve that problem. And that's more important than anything else. And that I think ties into what Bob was talking about with speed, right? Like speed is more important than price. I think that's probably true too. I'd say 60 or 70% of the phone calls that we receive here at FireSprint have more to do with speed than price. Now, I think there's a couple of reasons for that. I think your price has to be in the ballpark before you can even have a conversation about
Yeah.
speed. Um, so speed is actually still the second part of the conversation, but it's just not verbalized. Um, Clients who think you're too expensive just don't even bother to call and ask for speed. And so, you know, but yeah, for sure. In our business, you would think, I say it all the time. You think we're selling kidneys to, people who need kidneys, right? I need it now, need it now, need it now. And that's just the nature of what we do. A lot of times, print, signage, those kinds of things are an afterthought. You got this trade show, you figured it all out, and at the very last minute, it's like, oh gosh, we don't have any directional signage for the show, right? As they're setting up, and that happens, and that's the nature of our business. And the better we can be at it, the better we can solve those problems for our customers. So,
Yeah. 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 Speed over price from purchasing. Yeah. It's
yep,
thanks, James Stringer. Appreciate that.
yep.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Laura. And Felicia, you keep asking for speed. We'll keep trying to get faster. So we do have, I don't know if have we really announced it publicly yet, but we got a new printer coming at the end of this year. It's gonna
Oh yeah, yeah. We've
increase our
got we've
production
got the big
capacity.
Durs coming, the Durf D4, huge machine, awesome printer, and we'll show that to you on this live stream when we kind of get
Yeah.
there. But it's coming in December. It's 1 to 200 boards an hour. It's a screaming fast machine, over $1 million that we'll put into putting it in place. Um, so the bank owns us, and they will continue to own us. Um, but we would that's going to help us get faster. Like we have James and I have a personal goal to get us to basically next day production on
Yeah.
everything. um, and so right now we're at about 80-85% within 48 hours. We'd really like to get 80-85% within 24 hours. um, because yes, absolutely, speed is critically important. We know it, and we're working towards that. Um, One of the challenges is you guys keep sending us work, and so you keep our production queues just completely full. So,
We do.
it is what it is. We probably need to. We're at an hour, James.
Are we okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
we're at an hour. So we will be back on. I know Darren asked if we answered some of his questions. He had a few that he sent in to us that we need to answer. We will. I really want to answer them, but maybe we do it on the next fire
Next
hour.
next fire hour, we'll get in there. We'll answer some of those questions. I know. I just I hate to run long. I know everybody's been kind of bearing with us anyway. So yeah.
Yep, yep. So we'll get more into our external marketing and number of employees and stuff and kind of what we do as a company. And don't ever be afraid to shoot us an email and ask us or maybe
Marketing@firesprint.com.
that
Yep.
goes to both Gene and I. Otherwise, Gene at FireSprint or James at FireSprint goes to directly to each one of us.
Yep.
Darren, we'll answer a couple of yours. All right. How many staff do we have?
37 now. We're hiring, so we're bringing. We'll be at 40 probably by the spring.
Yeah, and so we do run. We're kind of so to help keep up with our. You guys have probably seen the disclaimer on our site saying upgrade your shipping to help kind of prioritize in our queue.
We're running 24/7 right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our printer and our cutters are running for the rigid stuff is running 24/7. Stickers kind of running 24/7.
Sticker's been able to keep
It's
up a
almost
little bit better, but it's
yeah
because we've continuously invested in capacity.
yeah
But the rigid side, it just takes longer to build that up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we are running 24/7 with that.
Yeah.
Normally we run two shifts. We actually close from like 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then we run, basically a day shift and the third shift.
Yeah.
It's been hard for us to find people to work 5 to 10, but
Yeah.
yeah, they that
Revenue. Darren also asked about revenue per head, so revenue per person that works here at FireSprint. We tend to ride around $200,000 per person. We are aiming to get closer to $250,000 per person. It just helps us. When you do more revenue per person, it raises are easier, benefits get richer, and the company gets more profitable just overall. There's just a bigger pot to go around. But we do find that at 200,000 per head, we're fine. And that's a little bit on the lower end of the industry, but not the lowest. Some of the big guys have 160,000 per head. And then being in Omaha here, our cost of living is pretty reasonable. And so, um, it does well.
When we were at Printing United, we met a couple other sign shops that were,
Like
they-
400,000 per head. It was nuts. I don't
yeah,
even know how
yeah,
they
they were
do it.
talking about, they do similar in sales and they'd have,
Half the
like,
people. Yeah.
half or five-eighths of the employees that we had. And it always kind of amazes me to hear that. And it makes me wonder kind of what the job mix is and stuff. Our average order value is only, I mean, it's below $200. And so, and then our median size order, median, not average, median size order is only one or two pieces, right?
Median artwork, prints for an artwork is,
Yeah.
is between one and two.
And so we run a lot of small
We
jobs.
do tons and tons of small jobs.
And it's, and I think that's kind of one of the things that helps. I'll check my phone. Thanks, Felicia. But one of the things that, we do is we kind of specialize in that small print
Yep.
run, and we found a really good market in there with our client base because it just makes it easier for you guys to sell. If you had to custom quote, a $50 job or a $100 job, or you had to, even just tell the client the price for that, for us, it makes that job not profitable. And so all of our automation and stuff that's tied into that has really kind of helped, bring that together.
Do we want to answer one more question since we've just gone over now? We'll just make
Yeah.
it fire 2 hours.
Um,
Pick one. Let's answer
So
one.
as a wholesale only, what external marketing do you do?
Oh gosh, that's like this
Yeah, this.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, the referrals, talking, obviously our email blast.
We have more business than we know what to do with right now. Right now, our limiting capacity is production. And so the reason for that is doing a good job. I think hands down, like people hear about us one way or another. There's 1,000 reasons why they hear about us, but then they send us an order and we solve the problem for them. We get it to them on time. Hopefully, most of you guys experience that most of the time with us. We get it to them on time for a good price, good quality. Everything's as expected, and you do that over and over again, and people just stick with you. Um, Print is definitely one of those businesses where you play the long game. If you're just around long enough and you do what you say you're going to do for long enough, you're going to fill up your capacity. So we're going to be expanding capacity quite a bit over the next few years because we keep hitting our capacity maximums, which you've seen on our website
How
and
do we
things like
track
that.
our capacity maximums?
So the yeah, that's a whole live stream, but there's a number of ways to do it. We track differently. So impressions is the easiest thing through the rigid printer, the square feet printed. But we also have for us to determine on the website why we said 115% capacity. It's because we had about 15% of our orders shipping late. And so that over a period of time started to tell me, well, obviously we're 15% over in our capacity because
Yeah.
every day there's 15% left, right?
On average,
On
there's
average.
days where there was 40%, and then there's days where there was 2%.
Yeah.
So it's,
And so
yeah,
if we had a machine go down or something like that, but on average is about 15%. And so that, that's where we came up with that number. But since it's such a forward-facing number, we just kind of pulled something, you know, rough calculation out and put it. It's a real number. I mean, we came up with 115%, but um, yeah, capacity depends on the piece of equipment. So that's a good question for
yeah.
us to get into more depth in other fire hours, I suppose, if you guys want to know more about that. But
And then we can go into a whole long lecture about how it would be really valuable if you guys could get your customers to buy the same amount every single day, 365 days a year, and then, slowly increment
yes,
that.
let's
Like,
just not have seasonality in the business. That would be ideal.
yeah,
So,
no,
okay.
it's seasonality is very,
All right.
very challenging, but
Yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out
yeah,
with us. We've definitely gone over. We had a little bit slow start, but we're going to get this stuff figured out. And we really appreciate your time. We want to really condense this and add as much value as we can for this. So if there are other questions that you want to see us answer, please put those out there and we'll keep incorporating them into Fire Hour, trying to add as much value as we can for you to make it worth you turning in and tuning in. So
yeah.
thanks so much for being here and sticking with us till the end. This is awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bob, for telling us you're going to go get lunch. We are also going to do that to help maintain our physical
Our
physique.
physique is
Yeah,
important.
yeah,
Yeah.
very
Okay.
important to us. So, but thanks all for joining in. You guys have a great rest of your day, and
See you guys.
yeah, see you in a couple weeks.